Hey Dylan. Oh hey, what's up man? How much? Yeah man, so kind of like a tattoo artist, it's really going to depend how complex the design is, how long something's going to take, what we might be using material wise, a lot of different factors. Is there something maybe you had in mind? What's going on guys, Dylan DeJesus here, welcome back for another video. Today we're going to have a lot of fun and we are going to be talking about all the little things that annoy custom sneaker artists. We went ahead and opened this up to you guys on our Instagram and these are some of the funniest entries that were sent in. One word DMs like yo, hey, and a. This is obviously a little bit of a waste of time because people aren't getting directly to their question or potentially inquiring about what they want done, and I promise you, the majority of the time the people that send these most likely aren't going to end up purchasing, as I'm sure a lot of you have experienced. Getting the paint on a sock liner, now this is an absolute nightmare, especially if we're talking about a shoe like an Air Force One where you have a white sock liner. Most of the time, there is not a great solution to this. If you try something like acetone, you're pretty likely to just smear the paint a little bit more. If you try something like bleach, you have no idea what's going to happen. Sometimes you're going to have crazy results using bleach, and if you try to just paint right over it with white paint or something like that, it's going to end up being extremely noticeable. So sometimes you have to just end up completely painting the sock liner a different color, and that may not have been part of your design, but sometimes you gotta sort of just innovate as you go. But yeah, getting paint on a sock liner is never a fun situation to be in. When I tape the shoe, but somehow it still seems to seep onto another panel. Now this is something that everybody's experienced. You might have a situation where you're trying to keep the shoe that factory white or whatever color it may be. Maybe you've already painted it and you just want to cover it up, move on to another panel, but you still get some of that paint leakage, whether it's under the tape or you didn't over tape that panel enough. Whatever it is, then you have to go in and do a bunch of touch-ups, and ideally when you're taping something off and moving to another panel, you hope that when you peel that tape off, you're gonna have executed perfectly and now be ready to move on to the next step, rather than going backwards and having to redo something that you've already done. When the final product is not as good as you thought it would be. Now this is something that every artist has experienced, because we have a pretty good idea in our head, most likely, of where we want to take the design, and we spend a ton of time trying to execute it. And as you start potentially winding down, you may see that, I might not have executed this as well as I might have designed it initially, but you did it to the best of your ability at that given moment, and sometimes your skill level may just be a little bit behind. But as you start to get better, as you continue to do this more, you really start to potentially know your limits, where you can do stuff, and you start to design to those capabilities and to those limits. How many likes? Well, as soon as likes are an accepted currency around the world, we'll let you know. But otherwise, we need money to actually pay our bills, keep our studio running, so that is going to be the main and best currency that most customizers like to accept. When someone wants me to copy another artist's design, now this is something that you are absolutely going to run into. People are going to send you pictures of other people's work, and then they may say, I want you to replicate this, or how much would it be for something similar? And then one thing that I really like to do is say, well, you know, I don't want to go ahead and recreate that artist's work exactly, but we could potentially do something similar. Here's how we might change it up, and go ahead and give them some input on what you might actually do different, so that you're putting your own spin on things. And something I'll do all the time, if I recognize who that pair is from, just go ahead and say, hey, you should probably go ahead and contact that artist directly if you really like that design. People complaining about prices. People don't actually understand the hard work that goes into a pair. Now, any customer that reaches out to you and has a little bit of a problem with the pricing, all it is a misunderstanding of the hard work that really goes into this. So you need to let them know how many hours it's going to actually take you to complete this design, how you're using premium materials to create a premium product for them. And rather than getting upset next time somebody reaches out to you and has a problem with the pricing, let them know, inform them on what actually goes into this. Lacing the shoes after they are complete. It's like folding laundry. Now this is a funny one that a lot of people sent in. I've never had a problem with lacing the shoes. I'm actually always really excited because that means I've applied the finisher, everything is completely done. I'm just about ready to go ahead and take photos of these before they're ready to get sent off. So this is something that I'm usually actually pretty excited to do, but a lot of you guys actually said this is one of your least favorite parts to do. people not wanting to pay for the amount of work if they can find someone else. As the age-old saying goes, you can always find somebody else to do it cheaper, but this can be a really hard lesson to learn in the custom sneaker world. You definitely get what you pay for. Can I add one more thing to the design? Unfortunately, it's not as simple as just slapping a sticker on at the end, whether it be trying to add a name or something like that, but it may have changed your entire process if you knew that you were going to have to add this when you were initially starting to plan these out and start painting your shoes. So when you have to add something at the very end, sometimes that can definitely mess up the order in which you might have done things, and now it might take you a whole lot longer to do something that could have been done a little bit simpler if you knew you were going to be doing it beforehand. Going back and forth in text just to say, okay, I'll let you know when I'm ready. Anybody who says that they'll let you know when they're ready is never going to be ready. When you have to tape over the paint and the tape takes off some of the paint too. Now this is most likely, I'm going to say 90% of the time, a prep issue, because it means that the paint isn't fully bonding with your surface. A lot of the time it's not going to be a tape issue. It's not necessarily a matter of using the wrong tape that went ahead and peeled up that paint. It really just means that your paint never bonded with that material underneath in the first place. So definitely make sure you take care of the prep work. Turnaround time expectations. So if you give a potential customer or client a 2 or 3 month estimated wait time, that means that you have a backlog that's going to take you 2 to 3 months in order to complete. So they might hit you up 1 week in or 2 weeks in and ask for any updates or any progress, but in reality you're not working on their shoes every day for 2 or 3 months. You're trying to finish everything in front of them. A lot of people don't understand that there's a line in front of them that you're trying to clear out before you're actually even able to get to their pair. And I think this may actually go against the grain a bit, but as customizers, I think you should actually say you have longer wait times than you do, so that potentially you're able to get their shoes done even faster than you initially told them, and you don't feel rushed. And if somebody's not willing to wait the amount of time that it takes for you to get artwork to them, then that may not be somebody that you want to do something for. Not being able to work fast enough to catch up to the growing interest. Now this is a great situation to me, and there's a lot of things you could do from here. It might be time to consider bringing on a little bit of help, potentially with things like your tape work, your prep work, potentially things like your social media, some of the business stuff, maybe the photography. There's a lot of different things you could do from here. You might also want to expand those wait times, and if you have a growing demand, a growing interest, it also is most likely time to start raising those prices even a little bit higher. When a customer asks for 12 mockups, I think that anytime you're going to be doing a mockup for a customer, I personally believe it's super important that you ask for a down payment up front. It could be as small as maybe 10% of the total, non-refundable, but it is going to go towards your custom. This way, if you start putting in time, because it costs you time and probably money for the software to do the mockups, you're at least going to be paid for that if they decide that this isn't for them, if they don't like the mockups or whatever the case may be. But if you're going to be putting your time into something, you're going to be paid for it, and once you send it to the customer, hopefully they like it, and now that payment is going to go towards the custom. So it works out best for both parties, in my opinion. So those are some of the most common things that will annoy custom sneaker artists that come up on a daily basis. Hopefully you guys had some fun watching today's video. This is meant to just be a fun one. If you guys haven't already, we would truly appreciate it if you could go ahead and drop a like on this video. It would mean the world to us. If you could also go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in that next video.